My name is Karen Williams, and I have created this project to tackle the difficult issue of sexual assault. Perspectives on this issue are offered by an anonymous survivor, who will be called Emily to protect her identity, and Valerie Simons, who is the Title IX coordinator for CU Boulder. Emily, who chose not to report her rape, shared some of the reasons she didn't feel safe reporting.
The rape culture is so prevalent and coming from so many different directions. It's your parents, it's the people you think are your friends. Pressure and blame placed on victims that a lot of girls feel like they can't report. Me was an athlete, and I feel like him and all of his bros, I guess, would have made my life hell had I come forward.
Valerie Simons assured that retaliatory behavior is not tolerated on the CU campus.
The same thing that prohibits sexual assault also prohibits retaliation, for reporting. So we treat that just as seriously. The same kind of sanctions can flow from retaliation as it could from sexual assault, depending on the circumstance. So, that's a message position for my office called the Director of Remedial and Protective Measures, whose really sole job is to provide the type of accommodation someone might need while they are, processing this, if they choose to report it, as well as protective measures.
When asked how she felt about victims' assistance offices and programs, Emily explained.
Well, we do have a whole lot of systems in place to address these kind of issues, but it can be extremely hard for victims to even accept what happened to them. I internalized a lot of what happened after it did. I don't think I cried about it for 2 days, but when I finally did, I was the one who felt bad. I felt like, how could I have gotten myself in this situation? I was shaming myself in the way that I knew others would shame me. Because we have these systems, but there is no way to really force a person to open up their heart. Because, to quote somebody else, to admit what it is, to admit that you've been raped, is to acknowledge that your life has been forever changed.
Emily's words appear to be well considered by Simons in the creation of the Office of Victims Assistance on CU's campus.
Really trying to do a good job of really channeling people to our Office of Victim Assistance so that they can have a confidential place to go, because that's a great place for them to really process what happened to them. Because, and it may go without saying, but a lot of victims complain as they have a hard time understanding what it was to them, processing to them what had happened to them, but then trying to report it to someone else, I think is very difficult. So really my first place that I would hope everyone would go to is the Office of Victim Assistance, because it's confidential.
Looking back at her rape, Emily says,
I still remember, I was wearing jeans and an old volleyball t-shirt, and my hair was up in a ponytail, and I don't think I'd even showered that day. And was I asking for it? Absolutely not. We blame the girl. We ask what she was wearing. We ask how far she had wanted to go. We ask her what she told the guy. We ask her what she was touching. If she screamed. These are all things I've been asked.
New programs at CU also take the issue of victim blaming into account when training their staff.
You are trained to really ask questions that don't ask the victim. What were you wearing? What were you doing? You shouldn't have been there. That's just ridiculous. That's old, that's dated, that's not.
I wish that I had known that resources were there, and I wish that somebody had shattered the silence before me. And the reason I'm so comfortable, I guess, talking about everything that's happened to me is because I figure if I talk, maybe somebody else who's been internalizing this and been going through this pain all on their own, maybe then they will have the courage to speak out, and they'll be able to, get rid of that pain too. And I wish that every school would have those resources to say, it's not your shame as a victim or as a survivor. There's no blame on you. There's nothing. You didn't do anything wrong, and it's okay to talk about it, and it's okay to.
Both Emily and Simons have hope for the end of sexual assault and rape.
We can be the change. We can be the voice.
I think what's unique about our situation is that we have to really put our resources to try to solve it. So getting people to report those things, especially when people are living on our campus, I think that's what's unique about it too. Every day we're trying to really get that number down.
Like I said, we just need to talk about it. Part of the reason why I was so quiet, and part of the reason why I suffered alone for so long, is because I thought it wasn't something I could talk about. It's not exactly something you want to bring up at the dinner table. Oh yeah, I was raped today. And it's not exactly something a freshman coming onto campus who barely knows anybody is going to feel comfortable talking about. It's not something you just spring on a roommate you met a couple weeks ago. But it's something that needs to be talked about. We need to have these discussions in order to facilitate change. If we're ignoring it, nothing's going to happen.